Islam places great emphasis on helping those in need. Caring for the poor and less fortunate is a fundamental aspect of being a Muslim. Charity, in all its forms, is highly encouraged in our faith. It is a way to show compassion, gratitude, and love for humanity. Among the various forms of charity, Zakat stands out as a pillar of Islam. Unlike general charity, which is voluntary, Zakat is an obligation upon every eligible Muslim. It is a mandatory act of worship that purifies our wealth and benefits society. Giving Zakat is not merely about fulfilling a religious duty, it is about recognizing that everything we have ultimately belongs to God. By giving a portion of our wealth to those in need, we acknowledge His ownership and express our gratitude for His blessings. Zakat is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, alongside faith, prayer, fasting, and pilgrimage. This signifies its central importance in the life of a Muslim. Just as a building requires strong pillars for stability, so too does our faith require us to uphold these fundamental acts of worship. Zakat is obligatory upon every Muslim who possesses a certain amount of wealth for a lunar year. This threshold, known as nisab, ensures that only those who can truly afford it are obligated to pay zakat. The Quran and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, clearly establish zakat as a fundamental duty. It is not a choice, but a divine command that we must fulfill with sincerity and devotion. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was known for his generosity and compassion. He was always the first to give, even when he himself had very little. His life serves as a guiding light for Muslims, demonstrating the importance of prioritizing the needs of others. The Prophet, peace be upon him, would never refuse a request for help. He would give freely, even if it meant sacrificing something he himself needed. He taught us that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the richness of our hearts and our willingness to share with others. His companions followed his example, striving to be generous and charitable in their own lives. They understood that true happiness and fulfillment come from helping others and alleviating their suffering. Giving zakat brings countless blessings and rewards both in this world and in the hereafter. God promises to multiply the wealth of those who give sincerely in His way. This multiplication is not limited to material wealth but extends to spiritual blessings, peace of mind, and contentment. The Quran describes those who give zakat as being on the path of righteousness. They are promised forgiveness for their sins and a place in paradise. On the day of judgment, their acts of charity will be weighed heavily on the scales of good deeds. Furthermore, giving zakat fosters a sense of community and social responsibility. It strengthens the bonds between individuals and creates a more just and equitable society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. When wealth becomes a burden. Stories from Sahih Bukhari. Volume 2, Book 24 of Sahih Bukhari contains numerous narrations that highlight the importance of charity and the consequences of neglecting this duty. These stories serve as powerful reminders of the transient nature of wealth and the importance of utilizing it for good. One such story tells of a man who hoarded his wealth and refused to pay zakat. After his death, he appeared before his family in a dream, complaining of being punished in the grave. His wealth, which he had clung to so tightly in life, had transformed into serpents and scorpions, tormenting him in the afterlife. This and other similar narrations emphasize that true ownership belongs to God. We are merely caretakers of the wealth entrusted to us. By fulfilling our duty of zakat, we acknowledge His ownership and use our wealth in a way that pleases Him. Zakat. Building a just and equitable society. Zakat plays a vital role in creating a just and equitable society. By redistributing wealth from the wealthy to the less fortunate, it helps bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. This reduces poverty, inequality, and social unrest. Zakat provides essential resources to those in need, such as food, shelter, healthcare, and education. It empowers individuals to become self-sufficient and contribute positively to society. When people's basic needs are met, they are better equipped to reach their full potential and contribute to the well-being of their communities. By fulfilling our zakat obligations, we contribute to the creation of a more compassionate and just society where everyone has the opportunity to live a dignified life, free from poverty and hardship. Purification of wealth and soul. Zakat is not merely a financial transaction, it is an act of worship that purifies our wealth and our souls. Just as we purify our bodies through prayer and fasting, we purify our wealth through zakat. It cleanses our hearts from greed, selfishness, and love of material possessions. When we give sincerely in the way of God, we detach ourselves from our wealth and recognize that it is ultimately His. This detachment frees us from the grip of materialism and allows us to focus on what truly matters, pleasing our Creator and serving humanity. The act of giving zakat cultivates within us virtues such as empathy, compassion, and gratitude. It reminds us of the blessings in our own lives and encourages us to share them with others. The consequences of neglecting zakat. Neglecting the obligation of zakat carries serious consequences both in this life and in the hereafter. The Quran warns of severe punishments for those who withhold zakat, including deprivation of blessings, hardship in this world, and a painful reckoning on the Day of Judgment. By refusing to pay zakat, we disobey a direct command from God and demonstrate ingratitude for His blessings. This can lead to spiritual stagnation, hardening of the heart, and a weakening of our connection with our Creator. Moreover, neglecting zakat perpetuates poverty and inequality in society. It creates a wider gap between the rich and the poor, leading to social unrest and instability. By fulfilling our zakat obligations, we contribute to the well-being of both ourselves and our communities. Volume 2, Book 24, number 541, narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. On Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha, Allah's Apostle, p.b.u.h, went out to the Musalla. After finishing the prayer, he delivered the sermon and ordered the people to give alms. He said, "O people, give alms." Then he went towards the women and said, "O women, give alms, for I have seen that the majority of the dwellers of hellfire were you, women." The women asked, "O Allah's Apostle, what is the reason for it?" He replied, "O women, you curse frequently, and are ungrateful to your husbands. I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence and religion than you. O women, some of you can lead a cautious wise man astray." Then he left. And when he reached his house, Zainab, the wife of Ibn Masud, came and asked permission to enter. It was said, "O Allah's Apostle, it is Zainab." He asked, "Which Zainab?" The reply was that she was the wife of Ibn Masud. He said, "Yes, allow her to enter." And she was admitted. Then she said, "O Prophet of Allah, today you ordered people to give alms, and I had an ornament and intended to give it as alms, but Ibn Masud said that he and his children deserved it more than anybody else." The Prophet replied, "Ibn Masud had spoken the truth. Your husband and your children had more right to it than anybody else." Volume 2, Book 24, number 542, narrated by Abu Huraira. Allah's Apostle said there is no zakat either on a horse or a slave belonging to a Muslim. Volume 2, Book 24, number 543, narrated by Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, "There is no zakat either on a slave or on a horse belonging to a Muslim." Volume 2, Book 24, number 544, narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Once the Prophet sat on a pulpit, and we sat around him. Then he said, "The things I am afraid of most for your sake, concerning what will befall you after me, is the pleasures and splendors of the world and its beauties which will be disclosed to you." Somebody said, "O Allah's Apostle, can the good bring forth evil?" The Prophet remained silent for a while. It was said to that person, "What is wrong with you? You are talking to the Prophet, p.b.u.h, while he is not talking to you." Then we noticed that he was being inspired divinely. Then the Prophet wiped off his sweat and said, "Where is the questioner?" It seemed as if the Prophet liked his question. Then he said, "Good never brings forth evil. Indeed, it is like what grows on the banks of a water stream which either kill or make the animals sick, except if an animal eats its fill, the kadira, a kind of vegetable, and then faces the sun, and then defecates and urinates and grazes again. No doubt this wealth is sweet and green. Blessed is the wealth of a Muslim from which he gives to the poor, the orphans, and to needy travelers." Or the Prophet said something similar to it. "No doubt whoever takes it illegally will be like the one who eats but is never satisfied, and his wealth will be a witness against him on the day of resurrection." Volume 2, Book 24, number 545, narrated by Amr bin al-Harith. Zainab, the wife of Abdullah, said, "I was in the mosque and saw the Prophet, p.b.u.h, saying, 'O women, give alms even from your ornaments.'" Zainab used to provide for Abdullah and those orphans who were under her protection. So she said to Abdullah, "Will you ask Allah's Apostle whether it will be sufficient for me to spend part of the zakat on you and the orphans who are under my protection?" He replied, "Will you yourself ask Allah's Apostle?" Zainab added, "So I went to the Prophet and I saw there an Ansari woman who was standing at the door of the Prophet with a similar problem as mine. Bilal passed by us and we asked him, 'Ask the Prophet whether it is permissible for me to spend the zakat on my husband and the orphans under my protection,' and we requested Bilal not to inform the Prophet about us. So Bilal went inside and asked the Prophet regarding our problem. The Prophet, p.b.u.h, asked, "Who are those two?" Bilal replied that she was Zainab. The Prophet said, "Which Zainab?" Bilal said, "The wife of Abdullah bin Masud." The Prophet said, "Yes, it is sufficient for her, and she will receive a double rewards, for that, one for helping relatives and the other for giving zakat." Volume 2, Book 24, number 546, narrated by Zainab, the daughter of Salama. My mother said, "O Allah's apostle, shall I receive a reward if I spend for the sustenance of Abu Salama's offspring, and in fact they are also my sons?" The Prophet replied, "Spend on them and you will get a reward for what you spend on them." Volume 2, Book 24, number 547, narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle, p.b.u.h, ordered a person to collect zakat, and that person returned and told him that Ibn Jamil, Khalid bin al-Walid, and Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib had refused to give zakat. The Prophet said, "What made Ibn Jamil refuse to give zakat though he was a poor man and was made wealthy by Allah and his apostle? But you are unfair in asking zakat from Khalid as he is keeping his armor for Allah's cause, for jihad. As for Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib, he is the uncle of Allah's apostle, p.b.u.h, and zakat is compulsory on him and he should pay it double." Volume 2, Book 24, number 548, narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Some Ansari persons asked for something from Allah's apostle, p.b.u.h, and he gave them. They again asked him for something and he again gave them. And then they asked him, and he gave them again till all that was with him finished. And then he said, "If I had anything I would not keep it away from you." Remember, whoever abstains from asking others, Allah will make him contented, and whoever tries to make himself self-sufficient, Allah will make him self-sufficient, and whoever remains patient, Allah will make him patient. Nobody can be given a blessing better and greater than patience. Volume 2, Book 24, number 549. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, "By him in whose hand my life is, it is better for any one of you to take a rope and cut the wood from the forest, and carry it over his back and sell it as a means of earning his living, rather than to ask a person for something and that person may give him or not." Volume 2, Book 24, number 550. Narrated by Az-Zubair bin al-Awwam. The Prophet, p.b.u.h, said, "It is better for any one of you to take a rope and cut and bring a bundle of wood from the forest over his back and sell it, and Allah will save his face from the hellfire because of that, rather than to ask the people who may give him or not." Volume 2, Book 24, number 551, narrated by Urwa bin az-Zubair and Said bin al-Musayyab. Hakim bin Hizam said, "Once, I asked Allah's apostle for something, and he gave it to me. Again I asked and he gave it to me. Again I asked and he gave it to me. And then he said, 'O Hakim, this property is like a sweet fresh fruit. Whoever takes it without greediness, he is blessed in it, and whoever takes it with greediness, he is not blessed in it, and he is like a person who eats, but is never satisfied. And the upper giving hand is better than the lower receiving hand.'" Hakim added, "I said to Allah's apostle, by him, Allah, who sent you with the truth, I shall never accept anything from anybody after you, till I leave this world." Then Abu Bakr, during his caliphate, called Hakim to give him his share from the war booty. Like the other companions of the Prophet, he refused to accept anything. Then Umar, during his caliphate, called him to give him his share, but he refused. On that, Umar said, "O Muslims, I would like you to witness that I offered Hakim his share from this booty, and he refused to take it." So Hakim never took anything from anybody after the Prophet till he died. Volume 2, Book 24, number 552. Narrated by Umar. Allah's apostle used to give me something, but I would